If not, we'll just go for it.
Okay, perfect. Well, again, would like to welcome everyone to the reviewer information session for the American Nurses Foundation's Margretta Madden Stiles Nursing Research Grant, which is focusing on credentialing. Today, I have with me a few members of our foundation team, so I'd like to let everyone introduce themselves, and then I will go last and move forward with the agenda for today. So, Adrienne, turning it over to you.
Thanks, Yolanda. Hi, everybody. I'm Adrienne Griffin. I am the Vice President of Programs for the American Nurses Foundation, and we're really pleased to take this time to talk with you today a little bit more about the Stiles Grant. I will pass it over to you, Numa, to just introduce yourself on work travel and say hi.
Hello, everyone. Good day. I am Numa Harrison. I am the Director of Programs here at the Foundation and delighted that you have signed up for this opportunity. We look forward to working with you.
And my name is Yolanda Walsh. I am a program manager here at the American Nurses Foundation. I work alongside Adrienne and Numa, and I will be your point person for all questions and issues regarding this opportunity. So before we get started, we did just want to take a brief moment to tell you a little bit about the research grant, and I will let Adrienne share that with you. And I see we have someone else joining us. Welcome. We are just getting started with introductions, and Adrienne Griffin's going to share with us a little bit about the opportunity before we talk to you about what it means to be a reviewer. Take it away, Adrienne.
Thanks, Yolanda. So we're really excited for this opportunity. This is a chance to do a deeper dive on credentialing research, which really is looking at the impact of credentialing and those credentialing variables and the standards and criteria and what difference does it make for healthcare performance and outcomes for both patients and nurses and the whole organizational system. This particular RFP, this particular grant is really focused on what we call the pathway to excellence credential, really looking at that pathway to excellence program framework. And so that's really one of the key areas of interest for this particular award. The other piece that is different this time is that we're allowing the respondent to indicate whether or not they have a project that aligns with a one-year time frame or a 2-year time frame. And then in the furthering of the I'll say that the choice of the applicant, we also are allowing the applicant to indicate what tier of funding they would like to request, whether it's what we call tier 3 at 25,000 or tier 2 at 75,000 or a tier 1 request at 150,000. We are looking at those flexible funding bands and as well as a flexible timeline for this particular opportunity. But we're excited to really lean into this at an American Nurses Enterprise level. We are the 501c3 arm at the foundation, but we have partnered with the American Nurses Enterprise Research Advisory Council, as well as the ANCC, the American Nurses Credentialing Center, to make this opportunity come to life. So that's just a little bit about like the background and how it is that came to be. We do envision this being a partnership with the Research Advisory Council as well as ANCC throughout the project once it is awarded. And we're really just so thankful to you for throwing your hat in the ring to be reviewers. The review panels really are a nice way to I think just see what's the latest and greatest in the field and also contribute your knowledge and your talents to helping us select the best possible research we can get with these dollars. So I think that was all I really wanted to say at the moment. We are looking forward to you jumping right in as soon as we get these applications under our belts. Responses are due April 10th, so then your review will start shortly thereafter once we make sure that everything is submitted as it should be and everything's complete. We do make sure that we don't just send you things willy-nilly. We make sure that they are complete and ready to go for your eyes. And then that review process, we estimate it will take about 3 months to conduct. And then we always put together panels in groups of 3. So we're really excited to have you. And thank you in advance for the work you will do. That was it on my list, Yolanda. Unless I forgot anything, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you so much for that, Adrian. All right, we've got several things we'd like to share with you all today, in addition to that brief background. First, I'm going to put in the chat a link to the portal where we are asking all of our reviewers to provide your personal information. This is how we will reach out to you once we have our applications in, once we go about assigning who's going to be a part of which group. And as Adrian said, we have groups of 3 who will be assigned to reviewing the same applications. Ideally, we don't want to give any group more than 2 or 3 applications to review, but that all depends on how many reviewers we get and how many applications we get. And so this information that you're going to provide via this survey here in Alchemer is extremely important, because it helps us to know who we've got for reviewers and to do those assignments. So that is my first link for you. I'm also going to go ahead and share with you, before I pull up a PowerPoint here, a link to the RFP, so you all can have more information about the opportunity that Adrian shared on a more detailed account. The RFP itself is, some 9 pages, so we didn't want to bog you down with all of that now, but we want to provide that to you as a background. As Adrian said, the application deadline is April 10th, and then we will have an extensive review period, which runs until the end of June, approximately June 30th, and then we would like to make notifications in July. So we want to give you all, at least a couple months to do those reviews. But that's a little bit about what our timeline is going to look like. Now I'm going to share my screen with this PowerPoint, where we can review just a few things that are important for everyone to keep in mind during this review process. We've already done some introductions of who's on the call. Can everyone see my screen?
We can. Thanks.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. We've done our brief introductions, and Adrian has told us about the program. Now I'd like to show you a brief demonstration of what the grants portal looks like. All of our applicants will be entering their application into a portal called Good Grants. This is a system that's, it's automated. It allows them to answer a series of questions, preliminary questions, checking them off yes or no before we can proceed to determine their eligibility. And also they can upload their proposals along with their budget parameters and everything else we ask of them. You all will be given access to this Good Grants portal with a reviewer identification login, and it will allow you to go through and read each of the criteria, each of the fields where they had to input information. You can even print it or download it to your own computers so you can review it in the manner that makes most sense to you, and then you will score it right in the portal, and everything will be kept confidentially there within one system. And so that is why we use Good Grants. So let me stop sharing this screen and hop over to Good Grants. Just a moment.
Is it just me? I don't think your screen portal is shared correctly. It was just showing slides.
Right. It was just a
Not yet.
slide, which was the first slide on my
Overview
PowerPoint
slides.
presentation, and then I
Okay.
stopped that
Okay.
to move over to Good
Okay,
Grants.
now you're gonna show. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Okay. So here comes Good Grants. All right, so the Good Grants portal looks something like this. It will be the same for both all of our grant applicants as well as for all of our reviewers. You'll click here to start, and you will be given, you will establish your own login credentials, and we will direct those as a reviewer. Mine shows this way because I've already established my login. But once I go to apply, and right now the foundation has 3 opportunities available, but we're just focused here on the Margretta Styles Nursing Research Grant opportunity. Once you have your credentials, you will be able to go into review, but because there's nothing to review right now, we're going to go in to look at the grant opportunity itself. And I just want to make sure everyone can see me because I've got some glitching going on here. Can you all see me uninterrupted?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, perfect. So It starts with the pertinent information. Again, all of the dates that our grantees need to know and a little bit of background, which Adrienne has already shared. And then it goes into the credentials, as well as the two different opportunities. Well, there's two opportunities, and then those two opportunities are tiered. And so it can be a 1 year or a 2 year, and then each of those, they choose if they want a 1 year grant or a 2 year grant, and then after that, they can choose if they want to apply for a tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and all of those are pegged to a different amount of funding. So those are the differences, but they will specify that within their application portal. They will be, our grant applicants will be required to, I'm sorry, where is this sending me? Just 1 second. Good Grants here is kind of doing its own thing. Okay, here we go.
You're
Good
all
grant.
now. There you go.
Yeah. So all applicants will be required to specify if they want a 1 year or 2 year, just for testing. I'm going to fill this in here for you all. And then after they select how many years, you can select the tier of funding. So we'll select the 25. And then I'll just put test in here so you can see which way it goes. And then that will take them over to all of the required questions that they must answer. The first several questions are, not only are they required, but they won't be able to proceed further in the application without answering them. And so that's how we can assure that all of our reviewers are not reviewing applicants that have not met all of the required criteria, starting with, is their organization based inside of the United States or U.S. territory? If they say no, they won't be able to continue further on in the application. If they say yes, they'll be able to go to the second one where it asks, will all of the awarded funds be used for charitable, education, or tax-exempt purposes? If they put yes, they'll be able to proceed. But if they put no, they will not be able to proceed. So again, we're doing a lot of the weeding out for you. So there's several required questions here that they must complete in order to move further on in the application. And then we start to get into some of the nitty-gritty where we're asking them what is their credentialing topic of choice. And we have also specified within the RFP that priority will be given to those proposals that have alignment with the Credentialing Center's priorities. And so we've asked for the credentialing topic, we've asked if there's alignment with the American Credentialing Certifications priorities. And if they are, we've asked which of those priorities there's alignment with. So we can, again, continue to highlight the criteria that they do meet. And then from there, they're able to upload their narratives, which is 6 to 8 pages, their documentation for criteria support, as well as their team overview, which is approximately 2 pages in length. There's also a space here for the budget, and also a space here for them to upload official verification for sponsoring institutions. So the portal really builds in space for all of the required criteria, allowing you to then just go in and review it once you are assigned which applications you will review. And very importantly, as you review the applications, you will have an opportunity to kind of stop and start as you would like. And so you're always able to pause the review and save it and then return to it at a later date. So you don't have to be worried about reviewing everything at once, especially when you get, it's especially helpful when you get into the longer narratives and attachments. And so that's a little bit about what the portal will look like. And once we get to the phase in the process where we have assigned the reviewers which applications they will review, we will revisit this and give a more detailed step-by-step instruction on exactly how the review process should be done within the portal, as well as making sure everyone's login and credentials are working. So that's a little bit about the Good Grants portal. So I'm going to stop sharing that and take us back to our PowerPoint presentation where we have a few other things that we would like to share with you as our review committee on how we go about reviewing these applications. So the applications will be scored based on information presented by the applicants and based on your expertise. We, like each application, we suggest that they be reviewed based on their strengths and weaknesses and the questions that we've asked. And then we review the applications in the groups of 3, as mentioned before, so we can develop some kind of consensus around the scores that we give them. And then after the applications are all individually scored, they will be presented, the scores will be presented to our final grant review committee, who will basically look at the finalists based on who has the top scores and see whose proposal has the most alignment. So that's a little bit about the way about in which we go about our review process and the reviewer portal. We'd also like to take an opportunity now to discuss how implicit bias affects the grant review process. And Adrian, if you don't mind, I'm going to allow you to jump in here and speak a little bit
Sure.
towards how we would like our reviewers to keep implicit and explicit bias in mind as they're looking at these applications.
Yeah, sure.
Is the PowerPoint
And
showing?
you'll
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
I was gonna say
advancing
if
it.
you you bring back the PowerPoint and I'll do that while
I
you're
am
doing
so
that.
sorry. Yes.
Yolanda will get it back for us. Just in terms of the bias, this is also why we have a group of 3 reviewers so that you can kind of check yourself and be mindful of any kind of unconscious bias that you might bring to the table as an individual, but then also think about, things that are happening around us and, just not aware, from that implicit bias perspective. So what we're really aiming to do is have a fair review for these applicants and really look at what's the overall value of the proposal. Is it in alignment with the mission and the values of the overall American Nurses Enterprise, the American Nurses Credentialing Center, and the American Nurses Foundation? So really, we're looking for us to work together to check ourselves on what kind of bias we might bring to our work, either unintentionally, unconsciously rather, on that implicit bias side or conscious explicit bias, that we might have. One example that I share is I'm a qualitative researcher by training, and so sometimes I will love a qualitative proposal, but that doesn't mean that my friends in the quantitative realm don't also have value, right? And that is something that I sometimes consciously bring to the table, but I will work with a team of reviewers to make sure that I am balanced in that overall scoring. So that was kind of where we were coming from, and this graphic here just showcases how we are asking you as reviewers to check that against yourself and for each other as you are working in your groups of 3. Yolanda, was there anything else that you wanted to say on that particular slide?
Actually, I can advance to the next slide
Oh,
because we
there you
have some
go.
tips on strategies that we recommend to reduce bias when we are reviewing, or when reviewers are reviewing applications. We strive to recruit a diverse group of reviewers to make sure that as many voices and perspectives within the profession of nursing are represented as possible when we're reviewing what we hope is going to be a diverse group of applicants. And so that is why the bias conversation is important, because we want to make sure that we level the playing field as much as possible, that we are diverse as much as possible, and that everyone is giving an equal and fair chance. And so what are some strategies we can all use when we are addressing the issue of reducing bias in a proposal review? We have worked hard to structure the grant process, the application process, and the review process in as unbiased way as possible. When we're reviewing proposals, we suggest that everyone, all reviewers, take time to examine any bias that you might be bringing to the table, particularly why you feel that you want to recommend or not recommend an individual organization for funding. Some questions that you can ask yourself am I evaluating the application solely on what's presented before me, or did I unconsciously make some assumptions? And did I use a similar vocabulary for the majority and minority underrepresented applicants? So we're really trying to make sure that every application we are reviewing gets equal treatment. There's also a narrative assessment that we encourage our reviewers undergo to deal with issues of bias. Comments are essential for review meeting, the Foundation's conversations with finalists, and the Foundation's conversations with applicants whose proposals were declined. So we do try and take the time to not just, provide feedback to those who received the grants, but we also have been told that it's extremely helpful and a positive exercise for those who don't receive grants to also receive some comments from us so that they know what they need to tweak and change in order to put together a successful proposal in the future. And so when you are drafting your comments and reviewing each of your applications, we ask you to keep those things in mind. And when making comments, we ask that you are clear and concise, that you are specific, that you're constructive, that you don't make assumptions, and that you refer to the RFP or the application's content as appropriate. And doing that will really kind of keep you within the guardrails, so to speak, of making helpful recommendations and also of making sure that our process remains unbiased. An example of ineffective narrative comments, saying for strength, the pilot is innovative and can be scaled. If successful, it could be transformative. A weakness is some elements of the project aren't feasible. And why is it ineffective? It lacks specificity, it lacks detail and support, or it's not able to derive constructive feedback for an applicant from these comments. So these are examples of an ineffective narrative comment. Examples of effective narrative comments, however, are for under the strength section to mention that the model utilizes a new technology and it will be adapted for priority. Notice there how specific it is. If successful, it can create efficiencies for the nurse and reduce barriers, talking about scalability. And then implementation in a variety of settings provides a foundation for future replication and scaling. So again, those are all positive things to show that are strengths of a particular application. Under weaknesses of an application, it might be helpful to point out that the proposal utilizes technology that is still in the early testing phases and will not need to be adapted for the project. Again, the specificity there is what we're looking at. Or proposes to transform entrenched workflows, time and resources to build buy-in and address reluctance to change are not included. So again, that is a specific, tangible criticism that really directs the applicant in the direction of knowing why their proposal did not meet some of our criteria. And then moving from scoring to recommendations. So sometimes putting the numbers to the answers, especially after you have reviewed two and you compare them, is an easy task. But coming up with specific recommendations is an additional stretch that we ask you to do because, again, it's very helpful to our applicants. And so in the recommendations, we're looking for aiming to score each proposal on its own merit. So again, that speaks to the number, but then make your funding recommendations, make a judgment on which applicants are best to fund, leveraging application material and your expertise. And that is especially helpful to us, which is, why we reach out to a talented and diverse reviewer pool, because we're really looking for the expertise that each of our reviewers bring to the conversation and bring to the table in order for us to kind of highlight what an individual applicant's strengths and weaknesses are. And again, this also is extremely helpful when we're talking about reviewing applications in groups of 3, because then we are really leveraging the experience of multiple nurses. And so one reviewer rather doesn't have to feel burdened that the whole decision is resting on their shoulders. Review logistics. We've talked about some of this already, and I'm sorry, this date in here should be July 30th, submit final assessments, but that should be June 30th. But in any respect, we've already spoken about giving you all access to the Good Grants portal, which you will use to make your individual reviews right within the portal. Everyone will be required to read the proposals that are assigned to you, hopefully no more than 2 or 3 proposals per reviewer. And then we will provide a specific scoring proposal rubric for you all, which we will identify at our subsequent reviewing session once we have all of our reviewers signed up. And again, the final assessments are due on June 30th, 2025, not March 7th. Okay. This last slide here just includes our contact information, but right now we'd like to take an opportunity to open up the floor for anyone who might have any questions about this process. And we know we just have a few of you today, but we would love to welcome any questions that we did not cover in this process. And you can just take yourself off mic if you have any questions. And while they're thinking about that, Adrian, anything that I forgot that you would like to mention, or Numa, anything that we glossed over that might be helpful? Any questions that we've heard in the past in our last process that you think would be helpful this time?
Yeah, I guess just a couple points of clarification. Yes, all reviews are due no later than June 30th. If you have a very lengthy summer vacation coming up and you're looking at this and you're saying, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I'm actually going to be away the entire month of June and the second half of May, let us know so that we can reassign you accordingly. If you look at this and you say, oh, this is still very much in keeping with my availability, that's terrific. And we will keep you assigned to a batch of applicants accordingly. The other piece I want to just underscore is this portal where we have the applicants submitting their proposals. It's very nice in that you can keep notes as you go through proposals. You can score and save, come back, edit accordingly throughout the entire review phase. So if you make a note, let's say you're extra critical and you look at one particular application and then you look back and you say, oh, I was super critical. They actually didn't deserve XYZ ranking. They could have been over here in another ranking. You can go back and edit it. Conversely, if you look at a proposal and you say, oh, was that really the cream of the crop? I rated them too highly. You could go back and you can edit, you can change your mind as you go throughout the process. One thing that I also appreciate about this portal is that you can see all of the attachments in one place for this. So there are a number of attachments, as Yolanda indicated, that we're requiring in terms of team composition and adherence to the criteria, as well as the budget. You'll be able to see all of that once you log into the portal. The other thing as a reviewer that I just want to emphasize is that I especially personally am famous for losing my passwords. I joke that I am always one step ahead of the hackers because I always have to reset my passwords. And so this portal is really super convenient. Every time I log in, I'm always like, I don't remember what my password is, and I just reset it. And so it takes seconds. So I don't want you to stress about passwords and resetting and all of that. It's actually pretty user friendly in terms of other portals that I've worked with. So those are the other key features that I would emphasize. In terms of this particular opportunity, you are going to need to pay attention and make some judgment calls here because it is a flexible time frame and a flexible tier of funding requested. You will need to look at, does it make sense? So, for example, if you have an application that requested rather a 1-year time frame and $175,000, top tier and the shortest timeline. Just ask yourself, does it make sense? And that's going to be a key criteria point that I ask all reviewers to keep in mind throughout this process, because it is a flexible timeline and a flexible funding tier. It might make sense or it might not. You might say, ew, they really need 2 years to do this, not 12 months. That's going to be a judgment call that you have as a reviewer. Likewise, if you see something and it just doesn't adhere to the pathway framework at all, and it's a nice set of research, but it's not adhering to pathway, that's going to be your call to say, gosh, does this get scored? Is this really responsive to the current call? Or is it just a nice inquiry generically on credentialing? So there are going to be a couple judgment calls that we're going to ask you to make as reviewers for this particular opportunity, but you'll be able to make notes in your portal and just kind of justify why you're saying what you are there. And then you'll be able to log back on to the portal to access those notes should we need to have follow-up conversations. Typically, what we've been able to do for past proposals is simply rank order according to the raw scores. That said, sometimes you get a couple that are really close, or they're really not statistically different. So you do have a small group of calls sometimes that you need to have. We'll schedule those as needed once we get all of the scores in. But that said, normally we can come to an alignment after one conversation, and you can see maybe you had a reviewer that scored very generously and another reviewer that scored with just a little bit more rigor to their critique, and kind of come into alignment there. We don't right off the bat schedule those calls. We kind of wait and see how do the raw rankings line up, and then we'll follow up with you as need be. But as you're going through the process, do keep your notes in the portal so that you're able to refer back to it and it's all in one place. That's my soapbox.
Thank you
Thanks,
for that,
Yolanda.
Adrian. Yep. During that time, does anyone come up with any questions for us? No pressure.
And thanks for the links in the chat here.
Yep.
I thought it's really neat. Last time I reviewed for NAF was 25 years ago, and definitely we didn't have this fancy portal. Yeah, I'm looking forward to learn about this new portal and this new reviewing proposal topic. So I just followed your Good Grants application portal, and I did authenticate in, but I got an error message. It says the resource that I'm requesting is not there. Do I need to, will you link selected reviewer eventually to the resource, or I don't know what's happening there.
I can check that link for you. 1 second, I'm just about to launch another one, and I will look, but that link should work for you. You should not have to register to get access to that, but also
we can try again.
Also the information, if you click on the RFP link that I just put in, that document is what is embedded inside of the portal. So that should give you the information. Does that one work for you?
The document works. Yeah, just the second to last one, I got an error message. How about Sandra? Sandra, did you try? I can post the error message there.
I didn't try, but I'm on my phone, so
Okay.
I will try and access it.
I will make sure I've written down your information. I will make sure that all of your links are functional here, so that we are being expeditious with our time and not holding up for that technical error. But again, that information that is linked within the portal is also there in the RFP. But I will reach out and make sure you can see everything. I do want to give Numa a chance to jump in here. Numa, can you share a little bit with our attendees and our friends who will watch the recording on some of the benefits from participating in the review process and about the community we're building here at the American Nurses Foundation with the lovely cohort of reviewers we have assembled this year?
Okay, thank you. I'm happy to do that. So I think what's exciting about this opportunity, Shen was just saying that, that she's new to the portal and she's excited about this new change that we've made. I'm excited about the fact that we're opening this opportunity and calling for reviewers from any and everywhere in the nursing community, especially researchers or people who have a strong and demonstrated passion for credentialing and the value of that and what that does for the nursing profession, and patient outcomes as well. So part of what we are excited about is, again, inviting people from very diverse backgrounds, people who have very diverse experiences, and asking them just to really use that unique sense of experiences, education, insight, instinct that they have that really, really matters, and have them contribute to this. So when we're making opportunities available to the world, we're really getting different points of view and perspectives on where the nursing profession goes, where research goes, where money goes in this profession. And we're excited to have that. Furthermore, what we're hoping to do with this by inviting more people in and bringing more people to the table is really opening up the work of the foundation and really building a community of subject matter experts, people we can continue to call on, people who will be able to get more insight, even just by being on the Good Grants portal. Once you get in there, you see what else we do, what other opportunities are coming up. Once you have access, you will continue to have access to that portal using your passwords for different things. You may not always be able to see as a reviewer for different opportunities. You'll get a unique password for reviewing, but you'll be able to see what other grant opportunities are open. You can always reach out to us. Part of the reason we're doing these information sessions is also so you can see the faces and the names of the people at the foundation. You can reach out to us. We're a very accessible team. You can ask us questions and say, hey, I'm interested in this, or do you know about this? How can we connect you to everyone else at the enterprise? And also, how can we learn about the work that you do on a daily basis in your world, whether it's academia or in clinical practice or something else that we're not even thinking about or tracking. So I'm excited about that opportunity. And thanks for joining. I put another link in the chat. I think you can try that, see if that works differently for the Good Grants portal. But if not, we'll certainly follow up with you. But thank you again in advance. And please invite your friends or invite your colleagues if they're interested. Spread the word. Again, we're looking for really, and they don't even have to be your friends, right? But they need to be nurses. But people who maybe like not your favorite person, but you really respect their thinking, invite them along to the journey. Let's do this. And again, we love the diverse perspectives. Thank you, Yolanda.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Numa. That was where I was going to go next. Please invite others, tell a friend, tell your colleagues. This is a wonderful opportunity for newer nurses. It's a wonderful opportunity for more seasoned nurses. Again, we're really looking for a diverse review panel, and it's just a great opportunity for either you to expand your career and your horizons, as an addition to your CV, or it's a wonderful opportunity for you to use your expertise and all your years of experience to enlighten and contribute towards the community. So I have put in our email addresses, our contact information. Again, my name is Yolanda Walsh. I've got my email address here as well as Adrian's and Numa's. Just trying to work within the confines. I'm so sorry that came out kind of wonky with the size of the font, but what's important is those links to our email addresses are there. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to myself first. And if I can't answer your questions, I will reach out to my colleagues and get you the answers you need. Please know that we are here to support you in the process. We appreciate and value your time, and we will be here to shepherd you all through the process and help to resolve any technical issues, and really, set you all up for success in your review process. So that is the role that all of us play, and we appreciate not only your commitment to the profession, but the service that you're considering bestowing upon the American Nurses Foundation and the enterprise as a whole. So thank you all for your time. Please reach out to us if you have any questions, and I will make sure that all of these links are functional and that we resolve any technical issues. Any last questions before we log off? All right. Well, wonderful. We wish you all a wonderful afternoon, and we look forward to hearing from you all via those surveys very soon with your information to formally sign up for this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you all so much.
All right.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.